What is the greatest comeback in football history? I'll tell you about one of them. But first, tap that like button because it helps my channel grow. And after you've done that, here is a story about hope. It was a cold night in Manchester. The year was 2007. The red half of the city was mourning. Their team had just lost 4-2 to their eternal rivals Liverpool, a match they had been totally dominant in. In fact, they were so dominant they should have won. But they didn't. So now they sat in 7th place, 7 points off 4th place. They needed a win next week against Bolton to qualify for the Champions League, but anything less would see them miss out on Europe altogether. It was a must-win game. The manager had just returned from an 18-month sabbatical after he had a public falling out with the club's hierarchy over transfer policy. He was only given a 1-year contract to return, and this may be his last game in charge. But he has never been one to do things by halves. He demands attacking football from his teams, and this one was no different, even if it meant leaving himself exposed at the back. As the players lined up, the Kop End rose to give their old boss a hero's welcome. This man had led them to 3 trophies in 6 years, but since he left, they had won none. There was a banner unfurled which read, "Thank you, Sir Alex." Bolton were no pushovers. They were fighting for their own survival. The Red Devils started brightly, camped in the opposition half. In the 10th minute, they got their reward. A cross from the right was headed home by the giant figure of Robin van Persie. The travelling fans were ecstatic, but then came a sucker punch. Just 2 minutes later, Bolton were level. The ball came into the box. Rio Ferdinand missed his man. The striker nipped in front of him and volleyed past Edwin van der Sar. The Kop End was stunned. The Red Devils started to play some neat football again. They moved the ball quickly, passing it wide to their overlapping fullbacks who drove into dangerous positions. In the 36th minute, this almost paid dividends when a low cross flashed across the face of goal. No one could get on the end of it, though. The best chance of the half fell to Michael Carrick after great work by Cristiano Ronaldo, but with only the goalkeeper to beat, he put it wide. The first half ended goalless, and neither side deserved to be ahead. In the 53rd minute, Ronaldo was brought down just outside the box. Van Persie stepped up and curled it over the wall and into the top corner. The Kop End was rocking. Just 2 minutes later, another free kick, this time from an even more acute angle. Once again, Van Persie stepped up. This time he went for power. The ball hit the underside of the bar and bounced down. It was in. Goal. The Kop End was going crazy, but there was still 35 minutes remaining. Could they hold on? Bolton threw everything forward, and United soaked up the pressure. In the 74th minute, a long ball forward was flicked on. The striker ran onto it. He took it around the keeper, but he couldn't get the ball under control. It rolled off his feet and away to safety. 4 minutes later, a shot from distance deflected off a defender and looped up onto the crossbar. It wasn't to be United's day. But in the 85th minute, Ronaldo broke clear on the left. He cut inside. He could have shot, but he squared it for Carlos Tevez, who slid in to make it 3-2. The tension was almost unbearable. The Red Devils held on, and the final whistle blew. They had won. The players ran to celebrate with the travelling fans. Ferguson was mobbed by his players. The Kop End applauded as they made their way off the pitch. This was only the beginning. Over the next few days, the other results went their way, and they qualified for the Champions League. Ferguson had done it again. Now, the next season, they would go on to win the Premier League title. As the years went on, new players came and some left, but one thing remained constant: attack-minded football. After all these years, the Scot finally retired in 2013. His replacement tried to continue the tradition, but it simply wasn't the same. Attacking football became counter-attacking football. Then Louis van Gaal arrived. The Dutchman wanted possession-based football. Neither of these worked out, and Jose Mourinho came in as the supposed special one. to try and fix things. His brand of pragmatic football frustrated the fans. Then came Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, most thought he was the ideal candidate. A former striker, he knew what the fans wanted, but unfortunately he couldn't deliver it. However, he did lay the foundations for the team we have today. After a difficult start, Erik ten Hag was appointed. Now, no one knew what to expect. Would he play attacking football? Well, the answer was yes, and in the process, they might concede a few goals. In the summer of 2022, they signed Lisandro Martinez, a left-footed centre-back who played in a back four at Ajax. Many said he would be a disaster. After all, he was only 5'9". Now, fast forward a year, and he's won the club's Player of the Year award. He's formed a formidable partnership with Raphael Varane, who cost the club a British record £80 million. At right-back is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a player who looked to be on his way out of the club, but he's come back in and improved massively under Ten Hag. And at left-back is Luke Shaw. Shaw was having the worst season of his career under Ole, but now he looks like the player we all thought he could be. In midfield is Christian Eriksen. Yes, he's not the dynamic box-to-box midfielder we once had in our ranks, but he pulls the strings in midfield like no one else can. And in front of him are Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford. Now, both these players have been guilty of diving in the past, but under Ten Hag, they've both signed new contracts, and they're playing better than ever. When they're firing, they're unstoppable. Up front is the most expensive player in the world. Yes, that's right. For £105 million, they bought Rasmus Højlund. Now, he's not quite hit the ground running, but you get the feeling he will score goals. Now, some might say he reminds me of a young Zlatan Ibrahimovic. They've conceded 5 goals already this season, but they've scored 13. If this team can remain fit and injury-free, they'll be a match for anyone. We saw this last season. They were unlucky to lose in the Europa League final, but they won the Carabao Cup. Now this squad is only going to get stronger, and if they click, they could go all the way. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what about Arsenal? Well, they also look good, and don't discount them. I think it'll be close, but I fancy United. Why? Because they have more strength in depth. Some people say money doesn't buy you happiness, but it does buy you options. Look at their substitutes bench. Now, we haven't seen much of these players, but they're all Premier League winners. Now, every team in world football would love to have these players in their squad. However, they need to keep their heads. The Premier League is unforgiving. 1 minute you're top of the league, and the next you're fighting for survival. Now, everyone is looking at Rasmus Højlund up front, but what if he gets injured? Well, they've got Anthony Martial. He struggled last season with injuries and form, but he's a proven goalscorer. Remember, he scored 23 goals in the 2019-20 season. There's always one team that comes out of nowhere and challenges for the title. Who will it be this year? Will it be the Red Devils? Only time will tell, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please tap that like button. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.